Be making basics.
What's going on YouTube? Beat Making Basics back again with another dope video. If you're new to my channel, please do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe. Also make sure you hit that like button and leave a comment. Without further ado, let's jump into today's content. The other day I did a basic tutorial, okay? Real basic tutorial on creating melody and saving it in the quick sampler in Logic Pro 10 and being able to load it back. This particular video, I wanted to do a more advanced melody tutorial, okay? Just to let y'all know, there's some things you could do to really take your beats and melodies to the next level. So that's what we're gonna be doing in this particular tutorial. Let's jump in, all right? First thing I'm gonna talk about is sound selection, all right? If you can afford it, I highly recommend going ahead and investing in Omnisphere, all right? Omnisphere has thousands and thousands and thousands of sounds that you can choose from, and unlike the sounds in Logic, these are more pro sounds. And not to say Logic sounds are horrible or whatever, but there's a lot you could do with this. Okay, a lot of more realistic sounds and things of that nature. So, sound selection is that first thing you want to go with. I'm actually going to go ahead for this tutorial and work with some guitars. So I'm gonna go ahead and click over here under category guitars, and we're gonna find a guitar and we're gonna make some dope melody. Now, the cool thing about doing melody as a music producer and compared to, say, as a musician, you don't necessarily have to know all of the different scales and all of the different chords in or on the piano. What you could do is actually, I'm going to throw up this musical typing, is actually know how to play the C scale. So as you know, when it comes to a major scale with C, it's all the white keys. And then with a minor scale, you're playing a few black. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna pretty much be playing the minor. And what you wanna keep in mind is the only two black keys that you're gonna be playing in this is gonna be D sharp and G sharp. All right, cool. So now that we kind of have some basics, we're gonna start out with like a basic pattern like that, and then we're gonna keep on building on it. We're gonna find the tempo first. And a cool trick here is, like, if you don't know how to play the piano super fast, it's all good. Just turn the BPM down, and you can always bring the BPM back up after you make your sample or your melody. So I'm gonna go ahead and mess around on the keys real quick. So we just play some chords there. I'll quantize those. And since I just played some simple chords, I'll bring the quantized measures lower. And actually, I'm gonna have to do it even lower than that. There we go. So we got the chords here. Let's listen to them. Now I'm gonna find a different guitar because I don't like how it's kind of dragging out like that. And what you could do is you just go ahead and double it by pushing Command D, and then you can add some other stuff to it. Okay, we're just gonna do something like that. Cool. So once you got your second part, so you add some chords, then you kind of play around here. What we'll do is quantize this. Since it's more detailed, we're going to bring the metrics on up. Probably use that 1/16. And as you can see, kind of snapped everything on the grid. Now let's listen to it. And then what you could do is go ahead and, you can push Command D to double it, go back over here to Omnisphere. And then what you want to do is just go ahead and select a different instrument just to add some more flavor. Let me see if I can find that other instrument we did before. Go back to guitars and let me record that. I'm gonna get this out the way. Delete that. And then what you could do is if you want to make it sound more realistic, you can go ahead and add a swing to all of the instruments you just played. So what you'll do is you just click into piano roll. It's always also up here where the scissors are. Click on the grid right here and then push Command A, and that's gonna highlight everything. And then what you can do is just pull this swing on up like this, and it's gonna give it a different vibe. You can do that on all of the instruments. And come over here, highlight it. And you're gonna have to take it down some. But that swing is still on it. So now we have our sample. And then what you could do to take it to the next level if you want is you can go ahead and add some type of a bass sound. And let me just take it over here like this. We'll pull up another instrument, software instrument track. Under instrument, we'll pick Omnisphere. And now we have this guy here. All right. Next thing, we'll just find a bass. Okay, so you can just search up here and say bass, and now it should bring up all the basses right here. All right, let's use this crackle bass. All right, cool. And what you want to do is sound it out, kind of keep on playing around with it until it actually vibes well with what you're playing here. Go G, all right? So check this out. My bad. Let's do it again. Okay, so I like that. I played a D was the last note. So on the last note here, we're gonna make sure this is a D as well before it goes into this other measure. Now let's listen to it. And also what we'll do is come over here to this little guy, click on this, and note velocity, we're gonna bring all those up. All right, so it's a dope pattern. The next thing you want to do is go into this pattern and just sweeten it up. This is where we're going to take some EQ, you know what I'm saying, and just make sure it sounds where it needs to sound. On this crackling bass, what I'm going to do is just take a little of that crackle out, and I'm actually going to take this filter right here and just cut some of it out. Let's listen. Because I actually like the sound of the bass, but that crackle on this particular melody is going to take away from it. So that's why I cut out some of the highs on that. We'll go ahead and name everything. This is the bass. We'll just say chords for this. And then I'll just say guitar 1 or gut 1 and gut 2. Just so I know what I'm working with. And we're going to go ahead and complete the process of EQing all of this. So a lot of these other instruments, what I'm going to be doing is actually taking out some of the lows just so that the bass can kind of shine through. And so I'll go on this one, come over here to EQ, bring that up, and we're going to just take some of those lows out, probably everything below 100 on that. All right, cool. We'll go to this next track, do the same thing. Do it on these chords. And the last thing I would recommend that you do is go ahead and you can add some type of effects. Now you don't have to add effects on these. Actually, it's pretty much straight the way it is, but we'll go ahead and add some effects on it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn off everything and just one by one add some effects. Cool thing you can do is use this vinyl plugin by Isotope. I believe it's free at this moment. And so I'll just go over here to Isotope and I have this vinyl plugin. So we're gonna start with the chorus, add that on there, turn the warp up just a little bit, turn the dust down and the wear down. All right, we'll go with 1970. We'll come over here and do the same over here. And all this is going to do is just kind of add a little flavor to it. I really love the whole warp effect on beats and on melodies. So check this out. All right, cool. And instead of having to do that on all of them, I'll just come over here, hold down Option, and drag that over to the second guitar. I'm not going to put the warp effect on the bass, and I'm just going to go ahead and unmute everything. You can also make sure your levels are right, and you can also pan some things to the left or right, and it'll give it a little different vibe. I'm gonna turn these kind of down in the mix slightly, and so that the main things are gonna be this bass and these chords. All right, cool. So that's our melody. And what we're going to do now that we have that is go ahead and highlight everything. We're going to right click on one of them. And what you're going to see is this option. This first option says bounce in place. Click on that. And what we'll do is call this smooth guitar melody. All right. Mute the source. All that means is basically this is going to automatically mute all this stuff out, and it's going to create a audio track of all of this together. You could bypass the effects plugin, but I'm actually wanting to keep those effects on here. Include audio tail. You can do that. Include volume, panning, and everything if you want. So say if I automated some panning and made like the chords go left and right via automation, you could do that. I usually go ahead and turn the normalize off, especially if it's not super clipping. But then we're just gonna push OK. All right, cool. So now we have this whole audio sample right here, which is all 4 of these tracks combined together. Now let's check it out. All right, cool. So now that we have that audio sample, all I'm gonna do now is just take it, highlight it, and just drag it right over here to this gray area, and we're gonna go ahead and throw it in the quick sampler. Now everything from this point on is gonna be pretty much exactly like what you learned in the last video lecture or whatever. You're coming to this quick sampler, and basically the quick sampler has a couple of different options you could use. You could use the slice option, which is basically gonna chop up the sample for you. I don't use the slice option as much. You can also do the one shot, which is whenever you push any note on the keyboard, it's going to play the sample all the way through. The one that I used to like, or I usually use, is the classic version whenever I'm using samples. So I'll just go ahead and click on the classic version. You can do a couple different things. Most of the time I always want to go ahead and click this. This is the hourglass right here, and the follow tempo. What it's going to do is lock the sample in place and basically keep the same tempo of the sample on all of the keys on the piano. Second, what you could do if you want, you could take this guy right here and do a little fade out at the end so it's not, ending abruptly. And if you wanted to too, you can even put a little small fade at the beginning. If you click right here, you can reverse that sample. So let's listen to that. Usually reversing stuff, man, rule of thumb, it just kind of can level it up. But anyway, I'm gonna keep it forward, and then what I'm gonna do is come up here where you see factory default, and I'm gonna go ahead and click on save as. All right, and basically what I already named it, that's what I'm gonna name it right here. Make sure it's going under quick sampler. So we'll say smooth guitar melody. We'll go ahead and click on save. And now Logic Pro 10 is gonna have this sample ready to use anytime you're ready to, cook up. So what we could do here is I can actually go ahead and create a brand new session. And since we already had this going, I'm just gonna go ahead, I'm not gonna close it. I'll just leave it there. Matter of fact, yeah, we'll close it. We'll close this session out. I'll save it. And I'm just gonna say, just in case I want to come in here and manipulate it for whatever reason, smooth guitar melody. So that's saved, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and create a brand new track. Close this one, and cool. Now that we have this brand new track open, or this brand new session open, I can come down here to instrument, and we can scroll down to quick sampler and go to stereo, push create, and I have this quick sample open. Okay, so we want to bring up our sample that we just created, our melody sample that we created. What you could do is come over here and under factory default, and you could either say load, but a cool thing is all the samples that you save are going to be right there under this. So really you could just go over here, and it's called smooth. So I know it's down in where the S's are. Everything is alphabetically, organized, and you can come over here and voila, here we go. We got smooth guitar melody. And as you can see here, I've added a whole lot of different sounds. Some I made, some I didn't. And we're gonna pull up that smooth guitar melody. All right, so cool. Now that that smooth guitar melody is pulled up, what I could do is I can even push this BPM up real quick, like to like a 140. And let's listen to it now. Now, a cool thing about this, once it's in that quick sampler, you can actually play it on any note of the keyboard. So I don't have to play it at C. I can go over here and we can play it on G. And honestly, that's really where the magic happens. Just playing it in a different, key or octave on the keyboard. So what we're gonna do is do a quick little cook up real quick on this beat. And I'm gonna play it in key of G. That's cool. We'll come over here, double click it, click on here, highlight it by pushing Command A, and then we're gonna push quantize like that. And if you want to see those, you can just pull that open. So now this is locked in place. I can also go ahead and right click on this and go to force legato. And it's gonna pull this out to the very end. And now we have a dope sample we can use. And for whatever reason, if you don't like that bass that we added in there, all you have to do is come over here to EQ and just filter it out. Take all the lows out. So check this out. And since we have control over this sample now, I can actually take it up or down depending on what I want. At this point, now we can just add like a clap, some hi-hats, and a kick, and we're ready to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. We're gonna pull up the quick sampler. I already have some claps that I go to. There's a producer by the name of Bricks Domain. I love his drum sounds. I use those a lot. Sometimes I use my own. I have, shameless plug, a couple of melody packs that you can get at Ukiah Beats and drum packs that you can get at ukiahbeats.com. That's also my beat site if you ever want to hear my beats or buy them or whatever. So let me go ahead and get a clap here. So we got the clap. I'll just go ahead and throw, rename it to say clap. And we're gonna go ahead and make sure the metronome is on, and we'll go record a clap. Now we go ahead and get some hi-hats on this too. We can go wherever we want on this. We'll just pull up. Let me see, where are my hi-hats at? Cool. I put this playhead at the very beginning, and actually instead of drawing the notes in, lately I've been using this step sequencer. I'll probably do a whole nother video on how to use this, but it's pretty simple. For everybody who's maybe used FL Studios before, a lot of the people who use FL Studio just go ahead and draw in the notes like this. And you can add variation to it. If you click right here, you can go up to 64 steps and you can make the pattern even more detailed. And again, since it's already in the quick sampler, if I wanted to do something even different, I can just go ahead and push rewind or reverse instead of forward, and we get something completely different. You can come over here, go to quick sampler. You know what I'm saying? Like, say if you wanted to add your own kick. Like say if you want to go add your own kicks, you can go to splice, or you go to a sample pack that you already have here. We can just say kick and pull up all these different kicks. I'm gonna use this little this kick right here. I'm gonna pull up quick sampler like this. Come on. Pull him over here. Go back down over here. And I think it was this one. All right, cool. Put it in there like that. Now I have a kick. Same thing right here. Like if I wanted to save this kick, I could just go over here to factory default and say save as, and then I can say, I'm just gonna name it club kick. And now anytime I wanna use that kick, I can just pull it up like so. So I'm just gonna add a basic little kick pattern. Cool. We'll go ahead and quantize that. I'm actually going to quantize this with a swing with 1/16 swing A. And I actually kind of like this melody going forward. So we'll just do it like this. I'm going to turn the melody down so we can focus on the actual drum loop. Turn the hi-hat down some too. I'll turn this kick up just a little bit. The cool thing about using samples, if you double Command D, basically make a basic copy of it. I can just come over here. I can play it an octave higher, and now this has a whole nother element to it as the beat builds. And again, like say if you want to add like a 808, take out those lows again, and then we can come over here and add an 808. Same thing, if you want to, you can go to Splice or go to one of my kits and add an 808 here, but I already have an 808 we can use. I'm gonna go to this Bricks 808. You want to just basically sound out the notes. And actually I might take out some of the notes. That's the cool thing about this and using the grid. I can always change anything that I don't like on here. Draw notes in. A cool little tip too is like any note length that you see on here, like say if I want the note to be this, if I just click on it, anytime I play it or draw it in by pushing Command and then pulling up the little pencil. Cool. And as you can see, it's kind of sounding choppy. So what we could do is push, click in the grid and push Command A to highlight everything, quantize and make sure it's quantized. And if you click on right click on one of the notes, you can go over here to this trim note into following notes or forza legato. And instantly everything is going to sound a whole lot better. Another tip is to go ahead and click on this guy, turn that velocity up. And now let's listen to it. And then we could come in here and add like some accent notes to it. You know what I'm saying? We can come in here and add a bell or add certain things to make it really sound nice. I'm going to do this bell sound I saved in here. Cool, just quantize everything. Go ahead and bring up the velocity on it. And you could even come over here, force legato that. We can add some effects to this to make it, you know, louder or whatever. I usually use MV2. It's a plugin by Waves. Bring this high down and bring that low up a little bit, and it's gonna make that sample sound a little bit more punchier and in your face. If you want to add some variation, you can also come over here and do like a lot of y'all already know about Cable Guys, but Cable Guys has this plugin called Halftime. Click on stereo and it will add a whole new dimension to your sample there. Now, the cool thing about this, right, is what you could do if you wanted to, right? You could take this sample right here that you just created and manipulated and resample it in. So I could take this guy right here and go over to that gray and then go to quick sampler right here. Mute that one out. And now I have that sample over again here that I can use again. But it's gonna be the one with all the other plugins that I just put on here. Now let's play it again. All right, this one you want to make sure that you're playing it from the very beginning of the sample. Sometimes when you edit it, it can mess things up. So. And then of course you can come over here to that quick sampler, go to factory default, say save as, and then we can do smooth guitar melody 2. And now I can bring that up too, you know what I mean? So this is pretty much your ultimate advanced melody tutorial in Logic Pro 10, where I was teaching you how to create an advanced melody and then also be able to save that melody and then pull it up and then create a beat out of it. You feel me? So please go ahead, make sure you like the video, leave your comments below. I try my best to go ahead and respond when I get back to it. And yeah, go ahead and subscribe if you're brand new. And yeah, I'll see y'all on the next one. Appreciate y'all watching. Peace.